It's an international organization to which we contribute. We've given it a remit. They're doing what they're supposed to do, which is look at what's going on in the world, give support when necessary. I mean, we did go and get IMF support back in the 70s when we needed it. And they give support to loads of other countries, and they're quite concerned about the implications of particular policies on the global economy. And their role is to say what they think, and say it publicly at times or say it privately, the way that they have done, I think, for quite some time, and also use some of the money that we allocate as part of if you like, the weaponry that the IMF has to support individual countries that are in need of that assistance. And they're doing it right now, of course, across the globe, but they're doing it in Sri Lanka and elsewhere. So that's their job. So we've told them to do that, and they're coming and saying something about what the UK is doing is very much part of what we'd expected them to do anyway.
Yes. I mean, Sam, what do you think about that point on actually the sheer power of these organisations with acronyms over the domestic policy set in Britain? Some people are really alarmed by that, and the whole premise of Brexit was perhaps to shift away from the growing tide of globalisation. Do you accept that? Because you're from the Free Market Forum, you are for property rights and the pursuit of market economics. Isn't that what the IMF is there to do too?
Well, I think one area that I would say that the IMF has stuck its oar in that hasn't traditionally been its view is what is complaining about the UK's Liz Truss's budget's position on inequality. So they said it was a great concern that it would lead to greater inequality in the UK. I find it a bit odd that an organisation who lead people are from Bulgaria, which has a top tax rate of 10%, and from the United States, which has a top tax rate of 37%, is writing to us saying that they're massively concerned about the UK reducing the top tax rate to 40%, higher than either of those two, saying that it's going to significantly increase inequality. I think, to your actual point, I think you are right that globalist institutions do probably have a bit too much power. But then again, that is one of the effects of a globalised economy. And while we have a lot of global movement of capital, labour, etc., we should expect that these institutions will have the ability to affect the marketplace quite significantly.
Yeah, I mean, Vicky Pryce, that's a good point, isn't it? The IMF is headquartered in the US, which has a top rate of federal income tax at 37%, and they're complaining about about getting rid of abolishing the 45%, the 45p tax rate. Isn't that a bit inconsistent?
Can I just say that it hardly matters whether they complain about this in terms of what governments do. The reality is they were, not just them, but also the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that we belong to, and loads of other international bodies were very worried and telling us that we shouldn't vote for Brexit and that Brexit would be a disaster. There are some of us who think that indeed Brexit has not been particularly helpful, but nevertheless, nobody listened. So it depends what you mean by power. They're still there to give their view, use their expertise, whatever it is that you think about this expertise, looking at the world economy and worrying about this right now, as quite rightly they should, because everything is slowing down, looking at what is happening in financial markets. There has been a bit of a disaster in terms of our policies in financial markets in the last few days, and that's a bit of an understatement. And that is really their job. I mean, similar with the World Trade Organization that we really believe in, because it acts to ensure that there is fairness across whenever there are any trade disputes. So that's the sort of environment that we have developed over a number of years. But I think you've got a point. If we're moving away from globalization, possibly, then maybe some of those roles are going to be undermined in a way. But I think a world where you don't have international rules or international watchdogs, if you like, whether you listen to them or not, will be a poorer one.